What is the most likely cause of a brake pedal falling to the floor while the vehicle is stopped? Well, here's one of those most likely questions. They can all cause it, but what is the most likely? A leaking master cylinder primary seal, front brake pads worn, misadjusted rear shoes, or air in the system? That's right, we're talking master cylinders. And before we go into the master cylinder, let's look at the two types of systems. You can see the one up there on the top, that's a longitudinally split system. We call that a front rear, which means brake systems now have two channels, and that's a good thing for safety purposes. If one fails, you still have half the braking. So the front is connected to the right front and the left front, and then the rear is connected to the right rear and the left rear. Now our other system, that's called a diagonally split system. Those are going to go across from each other. That's going to be the left front, right rear, right front, left rear. And the master cylinder is divided up into those two chambers. You can see the graphic right here where you got the reservoir, the primary, and the secondary. You're feeding two sets inside of there, a primary piston and a secondary piston. Better yet, I can take you right here. I have a cutaway that I can show you what's going on inside of there. So in this master cylinder right here, you actually have the red one right here is called the primary, and this gold one, well, this is called the secondary. Let's start right here with the secondary piston. So the secondary piston has a primary seal. So secondary piston, primary seal. Now that primary seal is holding pressure in this high pressure chamber right here. So when you push the brake pedal down, it goes past the compensating port and you start to develop pressure right here. Now this right here, this area in this piston, this is the low pressure chamber. So you got a secondary piston, primary seal, secondary piston, secondary seal. Then over here you actually have the primary piston. Now the primary piston once again has a primary seal. That primary seal flares out and seals the chamber right here, which is the high pressure chamber for either that front rear split or that diagonally split system. Now right here you also have the primary piston, the secondary seal. Now the secondary seal you can't see, but it's located here in the back. And that's the seal that's actually going to leak out of the master cylinder if you have any leaks maybe on the bulkhead of the car, or if you have a power booster and it's dripping down there. Well, that's going to be a primary piston, secondary seal. Now these primary seals are super important because they have to hold pressure. So if you push the pedal in and they're not holding pressure and it's bleeding by from the high pressure chamber to the low pressure chamber, well, that pedal's slowly going to go to the floor. So also in a master cylinder, you've seen a master cylinder like this, and maybe you've heard this before. Well, what that is that's a low sensor float right here, and you can see the low sensor float. Actually, I can pull it out. There's actually no connection between it and the upper portion here. It's sealed, so you can pull it out and you can change the sensor without having to actually replace the brake fluid. So then how does it work? Well, voila, I got you a cutaway right here. You can see the actual float right there. And the float magnetically goes up and down. As it goes up and down, low brake fluid then triggers this sensor magnetically, and it turns on that ribble light, that red brake warning light. That's a good look inside the master cylinder, but we also have to understand how to bench bleed a master cylinder. Why would we even want to bench bleed a master cylinder? Well, anytime you open up a system, you're going to get air in there. No matter what you do, if it's a brake line, a brake hose, it doesn't make any difference. You have to bleed the system. And it's a good idea to bench bleed the master cylinder first. And you can see it right there. You just basically take the hoses, route it in. I have a vise here. I got some good clean brake fluid. You're going to fill it up with brake fluid, route it into the container, and then take a blunt object, and then you want to stroke in and out on that piston there and try to get all the bubbles out. Then you want to cap it off, take it over to the car, and then it just makes bleeding a lot easier. As a matter of fact, I can show it to you right here in action. So we took the master cylinder and then we put it into a vise. After he put it into a vise, he filled it up with clean brake fluid, pumped it, stroked it, the tubes go up, and you keep pumping it until you see all the bubbles are gone. Once all the bubbles are gone in the hose, you got the most of the air out of the system. And I said the key word, most of the air. You still have to bleed the brakes no matter what, but that just stops a lot of the air going down the system. With ABS and all the nooks and crannies, this will help you out quite a bit. So that's a good look at a master cylinder and bench bleeding a master cylinder. Well, let's go back to our question. What's the most likely cause of a brake pedal falling to the floor while the vehicle is stopped? A leaking master cylinder primary seal. Absolutely. We saw that and how it's going to bleed by into the actual secondary piston, and then bam, it starts to go down in the low pressure area. The pedal's going to fall. Front brake pads worn, well, that'll also cause a low pedal, but it's not going to cause a low pedal while the car's stopped. Pretty much will all the time be low. Same thing with misadjusted rear shoes. Maybe on the second stroke, the pedal will come up a little bit. Now, air in the system's air compressible and liquid's not, so you're going to have a spongy pedal all the time. Well, this is a great look at master cylinders. This is going to give you advantage when you take that A-5 ASE brake exam.